As you know, it's important to me that the supplements I recommend and use are of the highest quality. That's why I stock the Protocol for Life Balance product line at my online dispensary, drhoffman.com/Protocol for Life Balance. Protocol for Life Balance offers a wide range of professional-grade products using ingredients backed by strong scientific research, including a suite of supplements specifically designed to support neurological health and cognition: Coggumin SLCP, Magtine, phosphatidylserine, and Brain Regain. Coggumin SLPC is curcumin optimized to penetrate the blood-brain barrier, where it helps protect brain tissue. Magtine may support healthy cognitive function, learning, and memory. Phosphatidylserine supports neuronal membrane fluidity, promoting cognitive function and mental acuity. And Brain Regain is a broadly useful herbal health aid that may be advantageous for supporting healthy cognitive performance. For more information and to order, just go to drhoffman.com/Protocol for Life Balance. That's drhoffman.com/Protocol for Life Balance. Protocol for Life Balance is an A-rated GMP manufacturer of premium dietary supplements.
Welcome to Leyla Muedin. Thanks for joining me. If you'd like to make an appointment with me, I run a private practice here in New York City. I'm available in person, via telephone, via telehealth. You could just call the number 212-779-1744. Again, 212-779-1744. I want to talk today about micronutrients, because this is a hidden hunger that are affecting billions of people worldwide. And the importance of emphasizing nutrient-rich diet, supplementation. There is a burden of hidden hunger when you're overeating or eating a lot of processed foods and things. There's really no nutrition there. So there's this hidden hunger for nutrients, micronutrients. The micronutrients are your vitamins and minerals. You know, in discussions about health, we're always talking about carbohydrates, fats, proteins, or we're talking about dieting for weight loss. We're talking about therapeutic diets. However, and this is coming from World Health Net, however, an equally vital yet overlooked component of health is the micronutrients. What are the micronutrients? Vitamins and minerals. These are required because they have a massive impact on overall well-being. So micronutrients, these are crucial. Our vitamins and minerals are crucial for immune function, for growth, for energy metabolism, and for prevention of chronic disease. And when we are not getting sufficient amounts of them, when they are lacking in the diet, a form of hidden hunger occurs, which silently affects billions of people worldwide. Micronutrients include essential vitamins such as vitamins A, vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin E, the B complex vitamins, along with important minerals like iron, zinc, iodine, and selenium. Unlike the macronutrients, like protein, carbohydrates, and fats, which provide energy, micronutrients support key bodily functions, including hormone production, neurological development, and immune response. Just thinking hormone production, off the top of my head, we need iron, selenium, and zinc for thyroid production. You need iodine for immune functions, right? Neurological development. We need the B vitamins. We need essential fats. We need B12. Iron deficiency, for example, can lead to anemia and fatigue, while a lack of vitamin A may impair vision and immunity. Iodine is necessary for thyroid hormone synthesis, and zinc supports wound healing and immune regulation. Even small deficiencies in these nutrients can have serious health consequences, especially over a longer period of time. So there's a global burden of micronutrient deficiency. Micronutrient deficiencies remain a critical public health challenge worldwide, affecting millions across all age groups. Recent research underscores the staggering scale. A 2024 study published in The Lancet estimates that over 2 billion people globally are deficient in key vitamins and minerals, with more than half of the world's population having an inadequate intake of one or more micronutrients. Conditions caused by deficiencies include anemia. That means you're lacking in iron or in B12. Impaired cognitive development, which can be caused by low iodine as well as iron levels, and increased susceptibility to infections. For instance, the World Health Organization reports that anemia, often driven by an iron deficiency, affects approximately 40% of children age 6 to 59 months and 30% of women aged 15 to 49 years globally. Furthermore, vitamin A deficiency remains a severe public health issue for nearly 334 million children and adolescents in low and middle income countries. Vitamin A is very, very important. These deficiencies are not just problems in low-income countries. They do also exist in developed nations due to processed diet and limited nutrient diversity. So factors such as food insecurity, limited dietary variety, and over-reliance on processed foods contribute to the prevalence of hidden hunger. Now, we need to recognize the hidden micronutrient deficiencies, because these micronutrient deficiencies, they can be subtle, but they can be damaging. So fatigue and weakness. If we're experiencing fatigue and or weakness, we could contribute this to a low iron status or low status of B vitamins, particularly something like B12. Where do we get iron and B12? Animal protein. I'm talking about high heme iron sources, right? We're not going to get a sufficient amount of iron from spinach, peas, and lentils because they contain anti-nutrients called phytates or phytic acid, which bind minerals like iron and don't let us absorb them, right? If you want more information on anti-nutrients, I have an article at drhoffman.com called The Trouble with Anti-Nutrients. Search that there and you could read more about anti-nutrients and the trouble with plant-based, looking for nutrients in some of these things. So let's talk about micronutrient deficiencies. Coming back to that, fatigue and weakness could be caused, I just said, by low iron, low B vitamins, compromised immunity. If you find yourself getting, a cold, not just once a year, but maybe a few times a year, it could be from poor zinc status or vitamin C. Zinc, one of the best sources, or shellfish or any other seafood, as well as animal protein, getting zinc there. Vitamin C, get from oranges, strawberries, red peppers. Maybe you have a low vitamin C because your blood sugar is too high. High blood sugar antagonizes vitamin C and kind of vice versa. So it's good to take some vitamin C. I know I take some every day. Things like impaired growth could be due to very low levels of vitamin A, low levels of zinc, as well as low levels of iron. And this is known worldwide. Impaired growth amongst children with poor vitamin A status, poor iron status, zinc status. These are really more underdeveloped countries where, so much of even the food aid is reliant on so much grain and not animal protein. And it's unfortunate. Even fortification only goes so far. And coming back to recognizing hidden micronutrient deficiencies, what that looks like, cognitive and neurological issues. So if you're suffering with any kind of neurological issue, cognitive deficits, it could be low iron, absolutely, as well as low iodine, right? And high-risk groups for recognizing these hidden micronutrient deficiencies, the high-risk groups include children, as I said earlier, pregnant women, and the elderly. For instance, severe iodine deficiency during pregnancy can cause intellectual disabilities and developmental delays. Research shows that about 30% of the global population remains at risk of iodine deficiency, which is the leading preventable cause of intellectual disability worldwide. Even mild deficiencies can reduce productivity and affect overall quality of life. Think about that. That 30% of the global population remains at risk of iodine deficiency. That's why the iodized salt initiative that started decades ago, that's why that exists. And that's why even in my own personal use of salt, my favorite is like a good flaky kosher salt. I like the pink Himalayan salt. I like the sea salts, the Celtic sea salts, but I mix that up with iodized salt as well. So I use all these different salts in my cooking and in my seasoning in all of my food, just to be sure. And, when I'm eating Japanese cuisine, I get the seafood, I get the seaweed salad from time to time. I make sure to indulge in some of that to get some of my iodine. It's also in onions, it's in seafood and things like that. And I make sure to get plenty of that as well. The low mercury variety, of course, right? So addressing these micronutrient deficiencies, it does require a multi-pronged approach. We need dietary diversity. We need to eat a variety of foods, including a variety of animal protein, right? Maybe a variety of vegetables as well, and some fruit. If you're having whole grains, some whole grains, but really a whole variety of things. Fortification, they talk about, because we're talking worldwide. Adding vitamins or minerals to common staples such as the iodized salt I just mentioned. And for those eating cereal grains, fortified cereals. And targeted supplementation, especially for high-risk groups like children, pregnant women, and the elderly. And education, teaching communities about nutrient-rich foods and balanced diets. And even in wealthy nations, hidden deficiencies persist due to modern diets. Public health strategies and individual awareness both play crucial roles in prevention. Now, hidden deficiencies also persist not just due to modern diets. You could be eating a very healthy diet. You could be doing everything right. But if you have certain conditions such as inflammatory bowel disease, these could be keeping you from absorbing these very critical micronutrients, these very critical vitamins and minerals that are needed for good health. If you suffer with inflammatory bowel disease such as Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, maybe you have celiac disease and it's gone undiagnosed. That's a reason for not getting sufficient micronutrients. That could be a reason why you are insufficient or outright deficient in many of these critical micronutrients. In addition, if you have a health condition that requires you taking medications, if you're taking steroid medications, if you're taking proton pump inhibitors, if you have GERD, acid reflux disease, any of these, and you're taking a Prilosec and Nexium, we need our stomach acid to break down and absorb these micronutrients. If you're not making enough acid in your stomach and all of that to help digest and absorb these micronutrients, that's another reason. So you got to check your medications. A lot of elderly are taking various medications, including these proton pump inhibitors that are causing these deficiencies. So we need to integrate nutritional awareness into daily life. So here are some practical steps for maintaining micronutrient health. Eating a variety of foods daily, leafy greens, colorful vegetables, protein sources, even fortified options if you don't have access to more healthier food, including nutrient-dense foods like seafood for iodine, right? Roasted nuts for zinc, for selenium. You certainly get that in animal protein as well. Iron and B vitamins. Understanding your health status. Blood test helps to identify these deficiencies. So, think about all of that. I mean, there are blood tests to see if you have iron deficiency anemia. Also, your iron levels, a CBC, a complete blood count, can show us if you're low in hemoglobin, hematocrit, but also you want to see if your ferritin level is low. Also, tests for B12, for zinc status, even vitamin B6. These are helpful tests. Why it matters to overall health. Micronutrient health affects energy. It affects our mental sharpness. It affects our immune function and our long-term disease risk. And subtle deficiencies may not present as an obvious illness, but can diminish quality of life and productivity. So by emphasizing nutrient-rich diets, fortification, supplementation, individuals and communities can reduce the burden of this so-called hidden hunger. This is a thing. That's why, a qualified nutritionist as well as your doctor can help to uncover these nutrient deficiencies. Blood tests are helpful. A qualified nutritionist can then help you implement a plan appropriate to you. This is personalized nutrition based on what your requirements may be. It is highly individualized. If you're anemic or you're low in B12 or you're low in other things, a nutritionist can guide you in the appropriate supplementation and the foods to eat to make a priority in your life to help replete, and take care of those deficiencies so that you're getting optimal levels and then going for appropriate retesting in future to make sure that you are replete in those particular vitamins and minerals. This is very, very important. And it's important to see if there are, maybe there are hidden sources that before an illness presents itself, kind of on the subclinical horizon. Maybe you're having early gastrointestinal complaints that might be some hidden inflammatory bowel disease that are keeping you from proper absorption of nutrition. These are things to be investigated, right? with the help of your doctor, with the help of a qualified nutritionist. It's important to uncover all of this. And if you're being proactive in your health, it only serves you. A reminder to all of you listeners, if you want to email me any questions or topics that you'd like to hear me weigh in on or take a deep dive on, that email is questions@drhoffman.net. That is questions@drhoffman.net. And a reminder to all of you, if you don't already subscribe to the Intelligent Medicine newsletter, go to drhoffman.com and subscribe to the newsletter. You get it once a week, actually twice a week. Mine, as well as Dr. Hoffman, is on different days of the week. You can unsubscribe at any time. It's free, just like these podcasts are. And I want to thank you again for downloading these podcasts at drhoffman.com. And I want to thank you for joining me on another edition of Leyla Muedin here on Intelligent Medicine.
I want to thank you for listening to the Intelligent Medicine Podcast. Follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or your favorite podcast app, and get new episodes automatically downloaded every weekday. And please give us a rating and review. It truly helps new people discover intelligent medicine. The Intelligent Medicine Podcast is for general informational purposes only and does not constitute the practice of medicine, nursing, or other professional healthcare services, including the giving of medical advice, and no doctor-patient relationship is formed. The use of information on this podcast or materials linked from this podcast is at the user's own risk. The content of this podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Users should not disregard or delay in obtaining medical advice for any medical condition they may have and should seek the assistance of their healthcare professionals for any such conditions. Finally, please visit drhoffman.com and discover everything Intelligent Medicine has to offer, including frequently updated, unbiased health news and fully vetted product and supplement recommendations.
This is Leyla Muedin, registered dietitian nutritionist. I maintain a private practice and see patients regularly. If you require a nutrition consult with me but live out of town, there's no need to travel to New York City. I have telephone and telehealth consultations with clients from all over the country. Please visit drhoffman.com for more information. And to set up an appointment, call 212-779-1744. That's 212-779-1744. I look forward to being a collaborator in your healthcare.